What's up guys, Noah from TemplateFC here, and can you tell the difference between this and this? Alright, a little tough to see, but how about this compared to this? If you can't see the difference, look at the wrinkles in the jersey, especially the sleeve and some of the areas down here on the jersey. So look at it now, key in on a point, maybe right here. Do you see it now? This is a technique for adding a little bit more realism to mockups. Now at TemplateFC, we create mockups. We have a lot. Be sure to check out our store. This one is the Vortex soccer mockup, which is right here based on World Cup kits. But we have a lot of mockups. Some of them used to have this effect to them to make them more realistic, but it just caused a lot of problems with certain users using older Photoshop or different programs like Photop and stuff like that. So we got rid of it. So instead we decided to make a little tutorial on how to add this realism to your mockups. And it adds the wrinkles, and I will be honest, it doesn't work for everything all the time. If you have like really dramatic wrinkles or displacements, distortions, it sometimes doesn't work great. But for the most part, it works pretty good. And if it doesn't look good on logos and stuff, you can create a second layer and not affect the logos and just affect the design on the shirt. But let me show you guys how to add these effects. So what we're doing to create this effect is creating a displace Photoshop file and displacing our design layers with that file. So this is the displace file we created, and it's mainly a white shirt, and it's a little more dramatic with shadows and stuff like that, and it's a little blurry. So this is the sort of thing you have to create for your design and use this as a displacement on your design. Now this is a clean template. This doesn't have the displacement on it. This is just how you get it. I do have the front offset a little bit, which isn't how this template comes, but I did that for the displacement because once you run the displacement, the alignment will be just a tick off. So this is just pre-adjusted. We're gonna hide the avatar, hide the shadows, and I'm gonna add these shadows because I like the bottom shadows, and I'm gonna save this file. So say this is my saved file, this is gonna be the file I'm gonna be working with, or this is the final design I created that I'm ready to display, show a client, or whatever. So I'm happy with this, it's saved. What I wanna do then is once it's saved, which it is now, I'm gonna go to File, Save As, and I'm gonna save a second version of this. And what I'm gonna do with this is change the format to PSD or Photoshop, because all our files come as .tiffs to save some space, but we wanna make this one a Photoshop file, and we're gonna call this Displace. And I'm gonna call it Displace 2 because I already have a Displace obviously, and we're gonna save it. And once we have that saved, we're gonna delete almost all the stuff that's in here. So avatar, and I'm gonna press Command, designs, colors, shadows, delete. And I'm gonna uncheck the background. So this is what we're working with, is just the lighting folders. And if I zoom in, some of our templates come with multiple textures. So you can see this one's heavily textured. It's a more unique texture from what a normal shirt would have. But then our lighting 2 is a more standard texture. So lighting 2 is the one that we want to use. So we can delete lighting 1. We won't touch that. Let's open up lighting 2, and I'm gonna hide the first two and just use this bottom white one. You could use the other white one, but you don't want to use the black one. And we're gonna set this bottom white one to normal and 100% opacity. So now we just have a normal white shirt. Great, we're done, right? No. If we use this as the displacement, in certain cases, this texture will come through and add just like a little bit of like blurriness or texture to your logos and designs. And it might not be noticeable too much, but it will be noticeable when you zoom in and could create some just issues with your design that you don't like. So we want to get rid of the minute texture details. To do that, I've come to the conclusion that blurring with Gaussian blur is the best way. So I'm going to select that and set the radius to 6. Now this radius is 6, but the file size or the image size is 5000 by 5500. So keep that in mind. If your mockup is bigger or smaller, the blurriness could be a little bigger or a little smaller. Just depends. But this, I feel like, works well for this size. As you can see, if you zoom in, you don't see those little texture details anymore. And if they're still there, they're not enough to like really affect the displacement when we use it. So again, you could use this as the displacement. It won't be too dramatic though. We want to add a little bit more contrast, so it's a little bit more dramatic and you can see it, especially for tutorial purposes. So I'm going to create a levels. I'm going to alt click on that to make it a clipping mask. And I'm going to bring this left arrow in to darken it a bit and the right arrow in to lighten it a little bit. And I just want to make sure things like this wrinkle are clearly defined in darker color. Some other wrinkles clearly defined, which they are. The chest area looks pretty good. I don't think that will be altered too much. And I'm not worried about the collars or the sleeve trim because I won't be using the displacement on those smart objects, just the front and the sleeves. So this looks pretty good to me. We can save it. And then we can open up our final file that we want to add this to. So I showed you that USA example in the beginning. Obviously that design has a lot of white areas, so you don't really see the displacement as much. And it's a lot better on an example like this where you have vertical and horizontal striping elements, so you can clearly see it. It's a lot more defined when you have elements like this as opposed to more white space. You can see if we zoom in here, there's not any interest in these lines. They're just pretty straight and linear. Obviously they're curved to go with the body a little bit, but they're not being displaced at all by these wrinkles. And it just is not as realistic as it could be. So open up the designs folder, and this is how you would go about adding these. So we're gonna add them to the front and the sleeves. So we wanna make sure the link to those layers and the layer masks are unlinked. And then we wanna select the front layer, not the layer mask, the layer, and go to Filter, Distort, Displace. Start with 10. You might have to go down, you might have to go up. So keep that in mind. 10 is a nice starting place. It's usually fine for me when I do this, but I have run into examples where I have to adjust that. Then you want to come to where you save that, and ours is Displace 2. We want to select that and click Open. It will run and then it will displace. And you can see, well, first of all, the thing I always want to check is how it altered the alignment. And this time it aligned it left. So let me use the arrow keys and move this design so it's centered. That's the one thing that you have to pay attention to. But look at all these little details. Like here where it's wrinkled, it follows that a little bit. Here it follows it here. All these little details are fantastic. It just makes it feel a lot more realistic, even though you won't entirely notice it all the time, but your eye does subconsciously at the very least. Like right here is a good one. So you can see it definitely has an impact on this, which is just the front, and this is a lot more subtle. Now let's do the sleeves, which are a lot bigger. We'll start with the right sleeve, and I can go to Filter and just click this Displace here at the top. You will still have to walk through the steps, but it's a little quicker to do that. And that moved it left and up, it looked like. So I'm going to use the arrow keys and have the move tool selected and go down a little bit and to the right a little bit, just to get the alignment a little bit better. It still should, the wrinkles should still follow the sleeve all right. You can't move it too far, but you should be able to move it a little bit to get the adjustment right. And then let's add it to the left sleeve. And take a look at this. Like this follows that the wrinkles so much better. It looks a lot more realistic. And I just think that it looks so much better than not having it. Now, for your design, it might not look better because it's not like a foolproof 100% this is realistic look. We still are in Photoshop and it's not always gonna look right. But I think it just enhances the realism a lot and can really improve your design sometimes. And it's a nice, easy little trick. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I want to add one last thing before we finish up. If your logos are getting messed up too bad by wrinkles or things, and you want the logos on a separate layer, what you would do is you have the smart object on a layer, say this front. You can right click, new smart object via copy, remove the smart object on that copy, align this new one with the old one. So there we go. Open up this new one, get rid of the design elements and leave the logo elements. Save it, close it, come back to the original, open that one, hide the logo elements, save it, and come back. Now this will increase the size of your file by a lot, but it will give you a separate layer for the logos that are unimpacted by this effect and can help keep the realism. So that's everything for this little trick. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more. Be sure to check out TemplateFC.com for mockups and patterns. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.